for the invitation. Thanks everybody. And just a correction, I'm not the founder of Friendship Place, but Friendship Place is 34 years old. I've been serving at Friendship Place for 19 years though, and we've added some things as a team since then. I just want to again thank you for the invitation. Acknowledge everything that's been done at the library over the last 10 years, and acknowledge Jean's leadership, because a lot of that is thanks to you, and you know you've been inspiring us all this time. It's a wonderful set of programs that you've started with everybody, I'm sure, who helped, but it takes a leader, and I'm so glad you were here, and then you're still here. I did a little bit of looking up, then I'll answer the questions before I came, because I wanted to, of course, you know, talk about how wonderful the programs are, how wonderful the reception from the staff is. I checked with two teams, the Welcome Center team that's based actually in 4713 Wisconsin, but for a while for several years ran a youth program for outreach all through the city, that the city has now folded under something else. And then our veterans team that outreaches everywhere, and everybody had the same impression that the library staff is fantastic. Any branch you go to, you're well received. You have private meeting space so people can talk about what's really going on, right? As the doctor said, not behind the stacks, but someplace comfortable. The peer outreach program, you know, we are very peer focused at Friendship Place. We have a peer with us. You'll hear Alan this afternoon. And I'm a family member. My brother was homeless right here in DC 2 years before I moved to this country from France. So, you know, the relationship is there. And then just about me very quickly, I came from France at 18. I first lived in California. My first neighborhood in the country was the Tenderloin of San Francisco. Anybody from the Tenderloin? No, too small a crowd. And I lived in the hotel rooms by the week, and the old Sailors Hotel, where you could just be housed for a few dollars. So that was my first experience, my first neighborhood in the country. People can't say enough about the transformation of the library over the last 10 years, and we really wanted to show our appreciation for everything that's been done, because it really was visionary. What you did as a group was visionary, and so well deserved, and so right, because people who live in homelessness need a place to be during the day, to get out of the rain, the snow, the heat, the cold. Some of you know that because you live it. And then even the small details, like, you know, plugging in your phone so it doesn't go dead, or using a computer, and the trust building. The trust building is so important, right? Because without trust, there's nothing we can do, and trust building is not easy. Finally, the DC bid also came up, so I know you partner with the DC bid, and they're a wonderful team. That's what I wanted to say. All right, so Friendship Place is a homeless services organization serving the DC metropolitan area with an array of services, and with a national presence, a national impact through best practices, because we travel out to conferences to share our models, our approaches. We do that knowing our size. We're just a regional housing program or organization in DC Metro, but we do have a desire to change the field, to move things forward, to highlight best practices, and to have people understand that wherever somebody goes, that person must find solutions, must find programs that work, meaning that people there need to wonder if their programs work, especially people who run these programs, like me, for instance, and make sure that the programs still run and are still effective, and then that people receive the highest level of dignity, support when people show up. That is deeply important to me from my days when I studied in de-institutionalization in the state of Massachusetts in 1982. It's been a while. And 21, no training, took a job on the night shift just to get in, and saw some things, frankly, that caused me still to react. And some people on the staff should probably not have been there. And so, you know, it's a guiding light forever for some of us that, you know, let's make sure we treat people right, because it's the right thing to do. I know you all know that, but I want to say it. So, the Aston is a wonderful place. I'll start with the Aston. The Aston is a wonderful place, 1129 New Hampshire Avenue. It's a bridge housing facility for Single adults, everybody is over 18. For the first time, we don't separate families by gender. So a mom and daughter presenting with her son, for the mom, don't have to go miles apart, and which makes the rebuilding really complicated, as you know. Some of you are in it. Rather, they can be next door to one another, because these are studio apartments, only 2 people per apartment. The city bought it, had it completely refurbished, and really fought. There were lawsuits. There may still be one, I think it may get resolved. There were several lawsuits in a row. There were neighbors who simply didn't want that kind of program around. And you know, when I heard about it, and somebody said, well, we're thinking about Friendship Place, because you know, of everything else we do, the city can actually ask us to take a program, because we do street outreach, drop-in, permanent housing, etc. So we're qualified according to the city regs. When I heard about this coming online, I thought, I hope it's the one they're thinking about us for us, because about us for it. I mean, because we come from community folks who 34 years ago said, hey, I see people in the morning in Upper Northwest, I see them in the evening. So if my neighbor is saying that these folks are just walking through, that's not true. They are, and we coined the phrase in the days, homeless neighbors. They are our neighbors without homes, our neighbors who are unhoused. We come from that, and you know, we're deeply rooted now way beyond Upper Northwest, because we weave that fabric. We want to be in touch with people, meaning that sometimes, you know, we listen to people who are not happy. When we were getting ready to open the Brooks short-term housing facility for family in Upper Northwest on Idaho Avenue, a person who said that she had been a social worker, she was now retired, spent an hour and a half in my office telling me that the Brooks was wrong, because the Brooks was in Upper Northwest and the schools would be, or the children would be someplace else. There can be different reasons people say these things. You know, maybe she thought she was doing the right thing, who knows? There's no judgment in this, right? You listen to people and you tease out what they say. But I'll tell you, this lady, this morning was at our fundraising breakfast, and again, you know, gave me a nice compliment about what we do. And then the first year we opened, she brought us a Christmas tree. So, you know, there are things you can do to get the hearts going. And we have to show some heart ourselves. So, the Aston is like a block and a half from the Ritz-Carlton, across from, and we were told that before we moved in, 3 Michelin star restaurants. Well, you know, good for us, maybe. And so I knew this would be a case study, and we put in a lot of work, and frankly, you know, in the beginning the traction seemed slow. There is this community group monitoring the program for the first time for us, and actually saying, you can have 50 people in the program. You can have now 100 people in the program. And so we moved it from, and the building can handle 190 people. So one day we hope to get there. But this group has something to say about that. There's somebody from EOM chairing it, Sakina Thompson, who's a wonderful advocate. Jim MLK, ANC Commissioner, co-chairing. So when you have a group like that, you work in steps. We opened in November. Some of us, because I was on part of the group now, I turned it over to the division director, Jeremy Jones, who runs the Aston. And some of us fought and said, you know, it's November. Trupti Patel, wonderful ANC commissioner, said, it's time to lift the cap right away. Let's not wait till the end of January. And some of us, only 2 or 3 of us on that team said yes, it's the right thing to do. And I told people we are in a position of privilege because tonight we know where we're sleeping. It's November, it's cold, and we're making this decision. So of course I support Trupti. Another person supported her, and it stopped there. But good news, by the end of January we managed to bring the cap up to 100. You have to keep pushing, keep talking as an advocate. You all know that, because voices have to be heard, and some voices should not go unheard, because that was the old system in the institutions that, you know, I helped dismantle years ago with a lot of other people. People weren't heard. you lunch is at this time, you sit down, you eat, and then you're at 8 o'clock, it's bedtime, and terrible stories. People's voices have to be heard. If you are a family member, an advocate, a person living in homelessness, have your voice heard, because it's really, really important. So the Aston is doing well. We're weaving really very supportive relations with the neighbors. Recently we had this idea that we needed a food pantry with healthy foods. We have Henry's Soul Cafe delivering fairly good meals, and they're good meals, but they come in a box, and you and I don't eat out of a box every day. And then if we have hankering at 11 p.m., maybe we need a piece of fruit or something. So a yogurt, we're going to work on that with the neighbors. We want them to come in and be active with us. So the Aston is doing well. And then there was another question. We'll keep it topical all the way. Then I'll comment a bit about the DC system and where we wanted to go. Right, Jean? Not too long, right? Because it's time for lunch.
Because we'll have a boxed lunch.
No, I didn't mean to put down the box lunch.
Totally
I have
kidding.
box lunches often.
Totally kidding.
Yeah. So
Whatever else you want to say.
just
Questions.
if I answer the question, it's good. I can take questions, but we're at a crossroads in DC, right? We're at a crossroads in the country. We have heavy pressure on us. We know that. We are being told we may lose some programs. We are managing quite calmly at Friendship Place, and we don't want people to panic. We're here. We have actually a few projects we're working on that will add to Friendship Place, offset the loss. But I just want to say, this DC system in the last 20 years has grown tremendously. I know it's frustrating for some people when things go too slowly, like now the housing authority moving so slowly on the apartments that we used to be able to house somebody in a week. Now it takes several months. It just doesn't work. There is some work to be done. But again, as constituents, if you live in the city, go to testify at the DC Council, write if you don't want to go, make some calls to DC Council members, to the mayor's office, because all that needs to be heard. And then, the system is going to suffer some. We know that already. There's going to be pressure, but we need to be committed to keeping it all together. Because when I started 19 years ago, and Jean, you remember, it wasn't this way at all. It was much more basic. It was good, but it wasn't the way it is now with these options: short-term housing, bridge housing, rapid housing. And we have to really save that for the people who come behind and for the next generation of service providers, because it's really important. A lot of people in the country look to us for what we've done. And I'll stop with this job placement. We are very set on job placement at Friendship Place. It is the solution we need, right? And so we need to make sure that DOES, Department of Employment Services in this city, and DHS, that both do more with job placement. We have this job placement program we started 12, 14 years ago. The model is our own job first. We assume employability. We believe that everybody who's able to work, who comes our way, can get a job now, and we work on that with different skill sets. It's been, we pay for it out of pocket. We have a lot of privately funded programming at Friendship Place. Some funding from the OES, not a lot. Some funding from the federal government. But it's essential that we look at job placement now, and that we help people get jobs when they go into rapid rehousing. If they don't, they're not able to keep the housing, right? If a young person on the street who is able to work, doesn't have the history with disability, is not going to get the voucher. We need to convince more people that job placement is it, and that holding people in classrooms for vocational training for weeks or months, and you get a piece of paper at the end, that doesn't work, right? That's something you do maybe to expedite, you expedite it, and the person quickly is supported with their job search. Thank you so much for listening to me.